One of my favorite sci-fi subgenres are time travel movies. Like many others, my obvious favorite is the 1985 film, Back to the Future. There's also another campier movie within the time travel genre that I also really like though. That movie is the 1989 comedy, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Sure, it's a silly and over-the-top comedy with a few questionable plot holes, but there is no denying that it is a fun and charming film featuring two sincere and likable characters. It also deserves a lot of credit for being one of the first box office hits to star Keanu Reeves. So with all that, be excellent to each other and party on, because this is the 1989 movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 10 Things You May Not Know. Number 10. The characters of Bill and Ted originated in a UCLA improv workshop in 1983 by students Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson, the son of famous author Richard Matheson, who is best known for writing the post-apocalyptic horror novel, I Am Legend. The sketch was originally Bill, Ted, and a third friend named Bob studying history while Ted's father kept coming in and telling them to turn their loud rock music down. The guy who played Bob wasn't into it as much as Solomon and Matheson, so the trio eventually became just a duo. Number 9. The film was directed by Stephen Herek. He had already had some success having directed the 1986 cult sci-fi horror B-movie, Critters. Herek's idea for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was to go for the same comedic approach of history as the 1975 movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. In fact, he even recruited the production designer from that film, Roy Forge Smith. Number 8. One notable actor who had auditioned for the role of Ted was comedian Paulie Shore. Although Shore had a typical Valley Guy accent that would have fit the role, it's hard to think about how the movie would have turned out if he had played Ted. Eventually, the role of Ted went to actor Keanu Reeves, who ended up doing a most excellent job. Paulie Shore would later carve out his own niche as a smooth-talking Valley Guy in movies, starting with the 1991 comedy, Encino Man. Number 7. The characters of Bill and Ted were originally written as skinny 14-year-olds who wore bell-bottoms and heavy metal t-shirts. They were supposed to be huge slackers who were picked on by high school jocks. When Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter were cast in the roles though, they didn't exactly fit this image because they just came off more cool than that. Reeves and Winter developed and evolved the characters into being more likable and sincere, instead of just being two stereotypical comedic slackers. Number 6. The casting of legendary stand-up comedian George Carlin has been described by Alex Winter as a very happy accident. When production on the movie began, they had yet to cast the role of Rufus. Originally, the idea was to get Eddie Van Halen to play Rufus since he was referenced so much in the script, but this wasn't possible due to the low budget. The short list of actors originally considered included names such as Ringo Starr, Roger Daltrey, Sean Connery, and Charlie Sheen. The filmmakers realized that other than Starr, none of these actors were known for comedy, so they probably wouldn't work in the part. Fortunately, the role went to George Carlin, who just fit the role of Rufus perfectly. Number 5. The original Spec script had been titled, Bill and Ted's Time Van. The premise of this original script was similar to what the movie became, but with some key differences. Bill and Ted were originally going to time travel in a 1969 Chevrolet van, borrowed from a 28-year-old friend named Rufus, but this idea was scrapped because it was considered too similar to the movie, Back to the Future. The filmmakers settled instead on using a phone booth as the time machine, which brought on a lot of comparisons to the British sci-fi series, Doctor Who, which uses a phone police box for time travel. Writer Chris Matheson has said in past interviews that he and the other filmmakers were all clueless about Doctor Who, implying that the similarities were just a coincidence. Number 4. Writers of the film, Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson, actually make a cameo in the movie. During the scene where Ted's younger brother Deacon takes Napoleon to a silly-themed restaurant, the waiters that bring the giant bowl of ice cream to their table are portrayed by Solomon and Matheson. Number 3. In one scene, Bill and Ted accidentally travel into the future and witness a part of the peaceful utopian society that they inspire. In this part of the movie there are 3 important people sitting up high as some sort of future council. Originally the idea was that these 3 people were supposed to be portrayed by the band ZZ Top. Writer Ed Solomon had connections to some other rock bands though, and the 3 people ended up being played by Clarence Clemens of Bruce Springsteen's backing group the E Street Band, Fee Waybill of the Tubes, and Martha Davis of the Motels. Number 2. The movie was shot on a budget of about $8.5 million over a period of 10 weeks. The movie was completed on schedule for a 1988 release, but unfortunately the film's distributor, De Laurentiis Entertainment Group aka DEG, went bankrupt. Without a distributor, director Stephen Hurek shopped the movie around to other distributors who didn't get the appeal of the movie, and the film came close to just being released on cable TV. Fortunately, some executives from DEG went to go work for Nelson Entertainment, who along with Orion Pictures secured new distribution rights for the film and scheduled a 1989 theatrical release. Number 1. The original ending of the movie was just Bill and Ted presenting their history project in a regular small classroom and then later taking the rescued princesses to prom. The filmmakers didn't think this was a big enough ending though, so they reworked it by having Bill and Ted presenting their history project in a big auditorium with a sound and light show rock concert type of feel to make the ending more triumphant and dramatic. Well, that was the 1989 movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 10 Things You May Not Know. If you like this video and want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe to the Dave Likes Movies channel right here. Thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions for future movies I should cover, just let me know in the comments.